Buenas, good evening, bonjour. Welcome to the annual beginning of the NFL pick season. I'm JoJo, aka Joseph JJ Joe, however you want to call it. My other man is like not here today. So whenever one man's down, it's next man up. And my brother, Mr. H Town's finest, fresh off a birthday. I'm not gonna call his age, I'll let him tell it that. It's Mr. Denzel J. Snipes Nelson. You see how I did that? All right, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good, dude. I'm really glad that you and James brought this back. Last year, you all were doing it, right before the game started on Sundays and all. But now this is great. I
Right.
was hoping you guys would bring this back for another season. And our guy, he's on his way out to LA right now. Matter of fact, and I told him I'd fill in for him. So we're streaming live on his platform on Philly Jim, and then also on my Facebook. So there's that. But yeah, man, anytime you want to get started, we can go ahead and kick off the week 2 picks.
Let's do it. With that being said, first game up, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles. As you can see, Eagles are 7-point favorites to beat this Vikings team. Now, we can recall last year, Justin Jefferson didn't have his best game against these very same Eagles, I think, at this exact week as well, or around the first month. So Justin Jefferson has literally said they're going to know what's coming when they see him. And everybody knows the ultimate guy that has kind of neutralized them last year was Big Play Slay. So with that being said, Jay, who do you have and why?
Man, this is a revenge game, most definitely for Minnesota. And I also remember this reminds me of the second showdown between the Vikings and the Packers. If you recall, Justin Jefferson had a no-show game. Jair Alexander put the cuffs on him, read him his rights, and threw him in Lambeau County Jail. This one, I expect a better performance from him, but not too much because the Eagles defense is still the Eagles defense. And let's face it, their pass rush has gotten better from what I had seen so far. The Philadelphia Bulldogs, the Northeastern Conference, as people like to nickname them as of the draft and everything. Jalen Hurts, he had what I thought was kind of a slow game in week 1, but still managed to pull off the victory. The Eagles defense made enough plays to stop New England. Um, Mac Jones was on his way to a potential game-winning drive. Eagles did enough to get it done. They barely escaped from. They barely, and that's what's probably a little concerning, is they barely escaped from Gillette Stadium with a victory in which they probably should have actually blown these guys out. But I get it. Tom Brady came to town. The team was a little, fired up and everything. And at the end of the day, you are playing against Bill Belichick. It's just that, the Eagles are just such a much better team. But no, I do have the Eagles still pulling this one off. I think last game was the shaking the rust off kind of deal, and I've got them winning. I'm probably going to take them with the spread. I'm going to say Eagles by 4.
So you're going to take them with the spread and you got to win it by 4?
Yeah.
That means they won't cover. So you don't think they're going to
Well, wait,
cover?
wait. I think I said that wrong. No, right. They won't cover. They won't cover. So
You don't
I
think
guess
you're taking Vikings to cover? You think Vikings are going to, be lost by under 7 points?
right.
Oh, look at that! I'm learning the bet stuff. Hashtag know it, Reddit. Let's do it. Side note, but I think you're 100% right. What I really wonder is that are they going to try to make Justin Jefferson the active player, or are they going to run their offense and let Justin Jefferson eat that way? Because if you go out there and try to make a point, sometimes it doesn't always work in your favor. And we're also talking about prime time with a certain quarterback on prime time playing for these
Mm-mm.
Vikings. So I think if they want to win, they got to focus on playing their D offense because they don't have a Dalvin Cook anymore. They got Alex. They're really high on him. They got Jordan Allison. I think if you can use those weapons and have T.J. Hawkinson, go down the middle, protect Kirk Cousins, there's a chance they compete. I do think the Vikings will cover, but I got the Eagles winning. I have the Eagles winning by 3 points. One bet advice that I would sit there and take is receiving targets for Justin Jefferson, because I feel like this game is going to come down to Kirk throwing the ball a lot. And we know when Kirk throws the ball a lot, he's always looking for Justin Jefferson. So his targets are at 9.5. I think he's going to get 10 or 11 targets.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now with that said,
and before you continue, a little bit as far as like spread betting goes, and if you watch J&J Sports Express, which is now on Sideline Sports, whenever you pick, like for example, if you were to pick the Vikings, you're actually taking the points. You're taking them +7. So what that basically means is the final score has to be the Vikings score +7 points must be greater than the Eagles score. And if you take the favorite is known as laying the points. So their final score -7 must be greater than the Vikings score. That's a little education on spread betting.
Indeed. So we got both of us are on the Eagles. What's going on, Bacon Grizzlies all day? What's going on? Next. And you know what? I'm gonna let you spice this up because this is the Texans versus versus the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Texans get the first win of the season. Now,
spice it up for me. What you got? How you want to break? What's the breakdown?
Now, I will say, because we really didn't get a chance to talk too much about the Ravens-Texans game. I was actually driving home from out of town, so I was keeping up with it on the radio and everything. And if you notice, the Texans were in that game for 3 quarters, and Stroud looked good. He really did. It's just for whatever reason, we couldn't get the ball in the end zone. We did. The Ravens did score a touchdown, and then it was like the Texans defense just held Lamar in check. Lamar only had 38 yards rushing. He only had 169 yards passing. He did have a touchdown pass, and he did throw an interception. So not exactly a spectacular game from Lamar Jackson. With that being said, we have an unknown in Anthony Richardson. He actually had the better week 1 debut between him, Stroud, and Bryce Young. But I just think the Texans defense is going to get after them. I expect a close game from two teams who are, starting off and trying to climb their way from the basement and everything. I'm going to say Texans 24-21. You got it? You good?
So they basically cover. Okay.
Yeah.
So to speak, I get you on that one. So I'll recap real quick on the Ravens, and then we'll go into this one. The Ravens were horrible. The Ravens won the game 25-9, but I was not happy, and I was a little bit of concern with how things played out. I don't even think you guys weren't even in the game for 3 quarters. I think y'all were in the game for most.
Yeah. Hey, you're frozen, man. Hey, JJ, you're frozen. Oh, I think he's still frozen here. Oh, here he goes.
It would not be a freaking show if I did not have some connectivity issues. But I say that to say, I think I'm going to take the Texans. Well, no, actually, I'm going to take the Colts because I think the Colts offensive and defensive line are going to be a much better output than what the Ravens have given out against you guys. And I do think that's going to be a very close game, but I think this game is going to be 14-15 Colts over Texans. I think it's going to be a very ugly. These rookies are going to struggle against each other's defenses because what always gets a rookie out of shape is a defensive line, and both teams have stout defensive lines. Don't know. I will say if the Texans want to win, in my opinion, got to get Damian Pierce going and try to neutralize that rushing attack or that pass rush with DeForest Buckner. But I got the Colts getting this one. So we got Jay with the Texans. I got the Colts. Look at us at disadvantage and at odds. Coming up next, let's see. Dun dun dun. Boom boom boom.
Raiders,
A game
Bills.
that I don't understand why Kevin Harlan has happened to call it, because I think he should be calling Baltimore, but that's neither here nor there. Raiders at Bills, and the Raiders are 9.5-point underdogs against a team that had their quarterback throw four turnovers. So it's interesting that this game's here because Vegas is the place to be. Vegas is where you want to get to in terms of football. And a lot of guys, like whenever they play in the field that's about to be where the Super Bowl is, they tend to feel like they got to step up and shine. So we're going to see what's up with Josh Allen against these Raiders. Now, granted, they are new look Raiders. They don't have Derek Carr anymore. They have Jimmy G. They don't have some people on defense, but they got Josh Jacobs. They got Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and an offense that seems like it can get going. They had a little struggles earlier this year, but this week one, but we are in week two. Who you got, Jay? Let me know.
I'm going to take the Bills. I agree with Bacon Grizz on this one. It's going to be a bounce back game for the Bills. I think that when Aaron Rodgers went down, the Bills clearly overlooked them. Allen threw 3 picks to the same man, mind you. Had a lost fumble. Everything indicated, and as horrible as Zach Wilson is, okay, he still threw the game-time touchdown. Credit to him. And then Jets special teams come through at the right time by a rookie in his first, pro game that counts. Shout out to Xavier. I think his name is Xavier Gibson. But shout out to him on that note. I'm going to take the Bills in this one. I think the Raiders will keep it. Don't be surprised if you see like a 17-14 Raiders halftime lead. But I got the Bills pulling away. I've got Bills 34-20.
Interesting. Clearly the more talented team is Buffalo. The team that's been together for the most part the longest is Buffalo. The team that has the better defense is Buffalo. Better quarterback, Buffalo. But I'm taking the Raiders in the upset here because I think that they overlooked them, sure. But even when they weren't overlooking them and they were quote unquote taking them a little serious on those first couple drives, it did not look pretty. And this team is learning, and they're rusty and they're going things. And I think Michael Irvin made a great point that I didn't realize until watching it back. You see Stephon Diggs and Sean McDermott visibly looking at Josh Allen saying, gotta be smarter, gotta be smarter, gotta be smarter. And in his eyes, he was saying, basically, he's like, you're basically telling the world he's not going to get it. He's not catching it. He's not catching it. Josh Allen's a gunslinger, so interceptions are going to come whether you like it or not. Josh Allen thinks he has the strongest arm. He thinks he can out-throw and have anybody on his team catch it. Where I think they may come into struggles with this team is the perfect way to neutralize a high-octane passing attack is having a methodical offense on your other side, keeping that team off. We have Jimmy G, who's the ultimate game manager, and he likes having running backs he can feed off and feed it to. Now, if they bring their A game, then Buffalo should be able to win this handily. But I don't think they're going to bring their A game because I think a part of last week's loss is weighing on them because it was a game they should have won. And the way they lost was deflating. You lost to a team without their star quarterback and on a punt return that got returned back for a touchdown, and you were up by 10 points on them at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think the Raiders are going to capitalize on that, and I think the Raiders are going to cover and got the Bills 24-21.
Ooh, nice. All right. This next one is going to be yours, buddy.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So I referenced this earlier. Ravens didn't look good, but you know what?
Neither did the
Neither
Bengals.
did Cincinnati. Like,
Neither did the
neither did
Bengals.
them. Now, this game is interesting. This is the game I feel like Kevin Harlan should have called, not the Vegas Raiders and the Buffalo Bills. I'm thinking like, okay, Jimmy G, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I'm going those two. But I will say, this is despite having no J.K. Dobbins and Marcus Williams, the Ravens are, wow, 3.5-point underdogs against the Bengals. The Bengals want to bounce back. The Bengals don't want to go 0-2 in the division. The Ravens would love to go 1-0 in the division, also be 2-0 against the AFC. This game usually happens like week 4, week 5, after some momentum going. But now we're week 2. So, Jay, I ask you, who you got? And tell me why.
Man, when you look at both those matchups last week, the Bengals lost because, Cleveland is on paper looking like the more talented team, and it showed on Sunday. A lot of people would say, and maybe even you would admit to, that the only reason why the Ravens won last week is because they were playing the Texans. If they were playing anybody else, they lose that game because of how they were playing. With that being said, I think that the Ravens will get this one. They've just, when they're, I know they lost J.K. Dobbins and everything, but they still got Gus Edwards. They still have a stout defense. And anytime Lamar's back there, I do trust them to have a bounce back game. This is where the Bengals kind of not crawled themselves to a hole, but if you recall, they had a slow start last year and then they picked up steam. This is going to be the Bengals' slow start period. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that I will say, oh, by the way, Joe Burrow is now 1-5 versus Cleveland. The only thing that I will say is they have to watch out for those dogs out there in Cleveland. You know what I mean? But this is going to be the Bengals' slow kind of pickup time, I've got the Ravens winning this one, and I'm going to take them winning. It won't be not no flashy contest or anything like that. I'm going to say 27-17 Baltimore.
Interesting. Now, you're right. If the Ravens did not play any other team, I don't blame you for sitting there thinking that, Bacon. Not at all, because I'm about to lead into it. If the Ravens played any other team, that was a loss. The offense was not getting anything going. They couldn't block. They had, I think, 10-plus penalties, a lot of pre-snap penalties. The Ravens just did not look good. They just did not look good. They didn't look like they looked rusty. They looked like they're learning a new offense. None of these guys played in preseason, so a lot of these guys were getting first-time action, so they were kind of, not used to the contact, getting nicked up, and, it just wasn't good. It just wasn't what you would expect it from a team that has a little hype coming in to win their division. With that said, I'm going Ravens 23-20, the opposite of Bacon, in the sense of, I think when these two teams face and they are at their quote unquote healthiest, granted, we lost Marcus Williams, we lost J.K. Dobbins, but we didn't have Roquan the first time we played against Joe Burrow last year. Roquan didn't come until the second game. So he's the quarterback of the defense. The defense is together. And I will say, this game is going to be the most heart-racing game of my life, because to get to that 23-20, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be some grind. The Ravens couldn't block anybody because Cincinnati's put together. But I firmly believe if you have to give Lamar a game situation where he is down and he has to try to do heroics to get his team to win, he has shown that he can do that in a regular season matchup, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. And he is going to get us down in the field goal range, and Justin Tucker is going to kick the game-winning field goal and show the other guy on Cincinnati's side, who the Bengals fan keep trying to elevate as better than him, why he is not. And the Ravens win 23-20. Bengals go down 0-2 in division. Ravens go 2-0, 1-0 up here. But it won't be easy. Prop bets. I didn't even go from the other ones. I would say take Jamar Chase yards, take Roquan Smith's tackles, and take Joe Burrow's touchdowns. Because I think it's going to be that type of game. Jamar is going to get off, but I think the Ravens are going to be able to do enough to keep them not blowing off the doors, which is how Jamar kind of became the famous guy he is, because we got to remember, he always had it, but then that year he had drops. Then what happened against Baltimore? He gets that breaking up game, and the next thing you know, it's all she wrote from there on out.
Pretty much.
So there you go. Look at that. So now the AFC North showdown is done. So ready for the challenge? Dun, dun, dun. We are going to where? NFC West? Maybe. No. AFC West versus AFC South. A rematch of the AFC divisional round last
game
year, where Patrick Mahomes got injured, but they still came out on top. This time, they're not in Arrowhead. They're down in Jacksonville with a team like the Jaguars, who are fresh off a pretty good victory in a division that against a team that they had been owned by. Trevor Lawrence gets a new shiny weapon, and Calvin Ridley. The status of Travis Kelce is still up in the air. It's a lot going on here. So, Jay, do you have Mahomes going 1-1, or is he going to suffer that 0-2 start?
So I need everybody to we also got to pick it up a little bit because I got to be at punting in like 27 minutes.
Yep.
All right. I want to make this clear. The Kansas City Chiefs are still the class of the AFC, and they will win the AFC West, okay? With that being said, I've got the Jaguars in this one. I got the Jaguars by a touchdown. And you know what? And here's the thing. Is it fair to say that if you can hold Mahomes to under 30 points, you have a very good chance of winning that game? In fact, you should win the game, you know?
A good chance. It's a good bet. It's a good bet.
I think the Jaguars, and you know what? It's also going to be dependent upon Travis Kelce, because Kelce missed week 1, and we don't know exactly how good he's doing for week 2. I'm gonna have to go and check in a moment. But if they're going to be without Kelce, I mean, this is back-to-back playoff teams that the Chiefs are facing, and the Jaguars are good for things like this. Like I remember years ago when they knocked out the Patriots, at home, and Patriots were saying, "Oh, that was their Super Bowl," and
they were Ben Roethlisberger's. They were Ben Roethlisberger's biggest crutch.
Yes, they was his whole career, But no, I'm loving Zay Jones. I like Trevor Lawrence, and I really think the Jaguars are going to bring it. They are out to prove that last season was not a fluke, and they are out to prove that we didn't just win because we're in a bad division. We're capable of winning 10 games. If you look at the Jaguars, they're a 10-win team on paper.
Yeah.
So. And you know what? You know something? Had they had finished a couple of games last year, they would have had 10, 11 wins, But I'm going to take the Jaguars in this one, 27-20. If the Lions can hold Mahomes to 20 points, so can the Jaguars.
I was actually going to take Jacksonville with or without Kelce, to be very honest with you, because one thing I realized, and I think I love, is that Doug Peterson is a great coach, and he's a great coach because of what? If he plays the same team twice, he's going to remember things he didn't do the first time next time. And Andy Reid is no slouch either. But I think Jacksonville, with the ability they can run the football, they're at home, they're a much improved team overall. They got a year under their belt of knowing they could compete with teams. Because while they lost the game against the Chiefs, there were moments where you almost thought that, wait a minute, can Jacksonville do it again? Can they come back and win? So they got the talent. They have the quarterback who actually is demonstrated in the team to be able to match with them. But I got Jacksonville winning this game 27-24. I'm taking Travis Etienne's props on rushing yards, because if Jamar Gibbs and my man, I forgot his name. He was just on. I forgot his name. But anyway, the running backs for Detroit were getting off. Etienne has a chance to get off. And I got the Jaguars over the Chiefs. Mahomes and Burrow go 0-2. Next up, what we talking about? Oh, Lord have mercy. We just going through the young quarterbacks. We did Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and now Justin Herbert. Fresh off a crucial crushing loss against the Miami Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Titans suffered a equally crazy loss to the New Orleans Saints. Justin Herbert, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Keenan Allen, that Chargers defense that did get a little carved up against the Titans offense that doesn't look too great. Tell me your thoughts.
Hmm. You know, this is a team that was in a shootout with. This is a team that was in a shootout with Tua Tagovailoa at home against a team that couldn't get past 15 points against the Saints. The Titans looked like the Titans. You know, um, Ryan Tannehill. There's still questions, but he does have a target on his back because the second he starts slipping, they're going to be calling for Will Levis. You know, but outside of that, something has to be done with that offense. I still like the defense of the Titans, but something's got to be done with that offense. And I the Chargers just have a way better offense. They got Eckler, they got Mike Will, they got Keenan Allen, they got Herbert. I mean, on, on paper and what you see on the field, last week the Chargers play anybody. Like if the Chargers were playing the Raiders last week, Raiders would have gotten blown out. From what I saw from the Chargers, they just happen to be playing the Dolphins. Okay, and we'll talk about them here in a little bit. But I've got the Chargers, and honestly, I got them blowing them out. I'm gonna say Chargers. I'm gonna say Chargers 28-7.
Chargers should win this game. But there's a reason why they're 0.3 favorites. There's a reason why. They don't always play up to their competition. I mean, play up to their level. They always sometimes drag along or whatever. They have the more talented defense, the more talented offense, just a more talented team. I'm not sure how they feel about their offensive coordinator just yet because, Dallas was happy to get rid of him. But they're just the better team. I think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to blow them out like that just because, as famous Dom always says, Charger going Charger. And I do think that they're going to have some moments. If they can't handle the run game, they're going to have some issues with Tennessee. Now, Derrick Henry isn't 2,000 yards, Derrick Henry, but he's still top 5 back. I think that they're going to keep this game close, but I think that they will win by about 8 or 9 points. So I'm going to go Chargers 31, Titans 24, 7-point win. I don't have too many things to really think about on this game because, they haven't had put anything props yet. But if I had to pick, I would think Derrick Henry rushing attempts because I think Tennessee DeAndre Hopkins receptions because he is going to be the force-fed target for Ryan Tannehill. Yep. There you go. Come on down. So we finished with AFC South versus AFC West. I wonder who's on the ticket next. What do y'all think? Oh, look at that. A new look Packers. Both of these teams are 1-0. Coincidentally not. They are both 1-0. Yep. And they were projected to lose both of their games. Granted, Atlanta and Carolina could have gone either way, but there was a lot of hype with Jordan Love, with the Chicago Bears going against Jordan Love. Packers are 1.5-point favorites in Mercedes Dome down in Atlanta. Jay, as we look at Desmond Ridder versus Jordan Love, what quarterback is going to be saying to themselves, we're 2-0?
Jordan Love. Not sure that I trust, but I will say this much, though. I love the dual back tandem of Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algiers, And if the Falcons win this game, it's going to be them too. If not, also a key few throws to Kyle Pitts. But the Packers, man, and I get it, okay? Everyone's going to say, well, man, I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Jordan Love. You can even bring Matt Flynn back. You can even bring Don Magic Man Mikowski out of retirement, and he would still own the Bears. They would still own the Bears. Just when you think, oh, man, the Bears got it, and then I listened to this game on my way home. Like, I was literally on I-45, like, in Houston, maybe 20 minutes away from home, and I was listening to this game. And I was just back here like, man, what in the hell is wrong with it's Jordan You know what? And the Bears bared. But now I've got the Packers winning this one. I got it surprisingly close, though. I'm going to say 20-17 Packers.
I'm going to go with the Packers as well. I think they're going to cover. I think there's 21-17 because I think they're at Atlanta. You don't know what you're going to get, but they do have a nice combo. They didn't get Drake London involved last game, and that was big. But it is going to be a Jordan Love victory because I think the Green Bay defense is going to make life very hard for those same skill positions at Atlanta. If I had to pick any type of, props, I would definitely take the under on the rushing and passing yards for Desmond Ridder, if there is one. I would honestly take the under kind of on Drake London's receiving yards because he's going to be going against two really great corners in Rasul Douglas and Jair Alexander. And he is considered the main weapon at the wide receiver position for that team. I don't know what to think about Kyle Pitts because I still have not seen the guy that everybody thinks he's supposed to be. I'm still waiting. So until then, Drake London, in my opinion, is their number one weapon. So Packers, there you go. So who we got next, Jay? This is exciting. I love seeing what we got next. Oh, boy. This is a very good matchup, a very intriguing matchup. Seattle suffered a rough loss to the Los Angeles Rams without Cooper Kupp and no Jalen Ramsey on that defense. But as we know, oh, my God, can you believe that? That's what the words were said when Aaron Donald was coming at Geno Smith. The Lions, a lot of hype. They looked good on offense. And that defense with Aiden Hutchinson was really going all around. Seattle's had issues with, holding up on that offensive line. And, they couldn't get into their skill guys like Metcalf and Lockett. But I ask you, Jay, intriguing matchup. Are both teams going to be 1-1 or is one going to be 0-0, 0-2, and 2-0?
I've got Lions in this one. The Lions, the thing that they have to not let happen is them to be hung over off of their win from the Chiefs. And don't be hung over with so much of the hype and everything surrounding them this season. They got to go out there and take this one game at a time. Now, I've got the Lions in this one. Don't be surprised if you see a Seahawks halftime lead, maybe 13-10, something like that. But after that, I've got Jahmyr Gibbs running wild. David Montgomery, that's the other running back that you were thinking of. And, of course, Jared Goff is going to make the throws that he needs necessary. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions in this one, 23-13.
Interesting. I'm going the Seahawks because I think the Seahawks are going to do everything the Chiefs did not. They run the football. The Chiefs do not. They have more than one weapon other than Travis Kelce. They also, on defense, have a better defense than the Kansas City Chiefs. And I do think, because I think it's inevitable for teams like this to buy in a little bit because they're used to losing so much.
Right.
And now they're getting all the hype and they're getting all the stuff from last season, defeating the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, and then winning against Patrick Mahomes. I think they're going to come in, trying to try some things, but Seattle's going to be like, okay, cool. You want to try these things? That's what's up. We'll just play our game and do what we got to do. So with that being said, I got the Seahawks winning this one, and I got them to cover. I got them winning this game 35-33. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game between both teams because both teams have really good offenses. If I had to look at props, I would definitely take Jahmyr Gibbs receiving props. I would definitely take DK Metcalf's receptions. And I might take passing completions for both Jared Goff and Geno Smith. That was cool. That was a good game. That was a game I'm actually kind of looking forward to, just to see what they're about. As we turn the clock, we move on over to the Bears and the Buccaneers. So my co-host, I am so tripping right now. We got Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield. Imagine that. This is crazy. Who would have thought Baker was on Tampa Bay, and now we got Justin Fields. So essentially, Justin Fields has the same playing style like Lamar Jackson, so Baker Mayfield should be used to this type of stuff. But the Bucs come in 1-0, stealing a win that nobody thought they could against a team that they thought was a little bit better. So the Buccaneers come in with the 1-0 division, 1-0 lead as opposed to the Bears. Jay, can Baker Mayfield really be 2-0 in the NFL?
He very well could because he's playing the Bears. The Bears added the weapons and everything, but I mean, dude, we didn't see anything come alive last game, and I'm just having a hard time believing that they're going to beat the Buccaneers short of Justin Fields rushing for 200 yards. You know what I mean? Mayfield surprised a lot of people last week. Granted, yes, it was only one game. But keep in mind that, when put in the right situations, he's actually a solid quarterback. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, because, he's only – and people like to take credit away from him for the year that he went to the playoffs and won a playoff game and everything. But I just like to remind everybody that who else at quarterback on that Cleveland roster would have put them in the playoffs? You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a top 5 or even a top 10. Mayfield's always been mid-level to me. He's always been middle of the pack. He may have had some years where he kind of dropped below that, but if put in the right situations, he's solid. He's also at home. He's also hype off of that win at Minnesota. I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Now, if the Bucs were playing the Lions, then different story. But these are the rebuilding Bears. I expect nothing different. I'm going to say Buccaneers 26-20.
I'm going to keep it quick because, we coming down the home stretch and we got to really keep it going. But I'll just say this. Cleveland is not the team that they are today without the help of Baker Mayfield. There's no way you can sit here and say Cleveland's trajectory did not change from the moment they drafted 2 players, Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield.
True.
Because whether you like it or not, they brought in the pieces that they are using today with Baker Mayfield. So, yes, you can say what you want about the guy. He has his ups and downs, but he's not as bad as people want to make it out to be. Because trust and believe, if I didn't have Lamar Jackson, I needed any of the quarterbacks out there left, and he was there, I would take him. Because I know what he's going to bring. He's going to give it his all. With that said, I'm going with the Bears. I'm going with Justin Fields to get it on track. I'm going with the Bears with Tremaine Edmonds fresh off of a new contract to finally get that defense going, and they win, and they cover the spread. They win it 21-20. So that was cool. What else we got going on? Because I know we got a few. Giants and Cardinals. Let's just keep it quick because I think we kind of know where this is going. At the end of the day, the Giants are a higher underdog. Ugh. I'm so trippy off this one. I don't even want to talk about it. Cardinals are rebuilding. They get rid of everybody. They just beat it. They barely lost to a bad Washington squad. New York got throttled by probably the 3rd best team in their entire conference, which is the only team people thought were going to have a chance to dethrone San Francisco or Philly. Granted, they didn't look good, but they should beat the Cardinals. Who do you got?
Oh, man. I'm going to keep it quick because we got 10 minutes and like 6 more matchups. So I know the Giants got blown out 40-0 last week, but this is definitely their bounce back game. The Cardinals are going to have the number 1 pick in the 2024 draft. This game is basically the Giants versus a Pac-12 team. So I'm going to say Daniel Jones comes alive, Saquon Barkley comes alive, Dexter Lawrence gets more than a few sacks off, and I've got I've got the Giants 28-3.
I do too, and I haven't beaten them just as bad because at the end of the day, the Giants got lost to a team that they've been getting their butts crushed from this person anyway. Mm-hmm. It's kind of an oversight in my opinion. Especially against, you're not going to convince me they're going to lose to the Cardinals. That's all I'm just going to sit there and say. Now, if they lose to the Cardinals, we're going to be back here next week looking like Boo Boo the Fools. But, it's okay. Giants, I agree with you, 28-23. Take the under on passing yards for Josh Dobbs and take the over on sacks for the Wink Martindale blitz it all day type New York Giants defense. Mm-hmm. So that's one matchup. What else we got? Let's move up. Round the horn. 49. NFC West showdown. The two remaining teams that made the Super Bowl from this conference are squaring off against each other. And now let's see who you got. San Francisco 8-point over. And they look like the best team outside of Dallas this weekend, going against a Rams team who nobody thought was actually going to be 1-0 coming into this game. Who you got?
Man, no Cooper Kupp, and I don't know if he's coming back this week, and I'm going to have to go and check on that here in a moment. But, man, I know the Rams always bring it, but Niners clear cut far and away. I think the Rams, because it's a rivalry game, they're going to make it a little bit closer. But I've got the Niners at the end. Don't be surprised if you see a close Niner lead. And in the last 2 or 3 possessions of the Rams, the defense gets the job done. Hell, I'm starting Nick Bosa this weekend on fantasy football. But, real quick, I'm going to have Niners 27-20.
I'm Niners, but I got Rams covering. I got them winning 24 to 17. But I think I will sit there and say this: the Niners are the better team. I would take over on Christian McCaffrey's rushing yards because ever since he's been at San Francisco, that's kind of been the theme for him. Like he's kind of just going off. But I will say that I will think Matthew Stafford's passing attempts are going to go up because I think they're going to be coming from behind a lot of the time.
All right.
What else we got? Ooh, this is exciting. Isn't this exciting? Are y'all having fun? This game was supposed to be way different than what it is now. This game, after what Dallas did with the potential what was coming in, this game was supposed to be the matchup of the week. To be like, all right, bet. You did that to Giants. Here come Aaron. Jets at Cowboys. Now, granted, who do you got?
Cowboys in a blowout, in a rout. Listen, great win last week. This game actually was supposed to be game of the week because it's Rodgers, at Cowboys, and you know what Rodgers always does to him. Well, unfortunately, he's on a torn wheel. He's going to be missing for the rest of the season. And we're talking about Zach Wilson versus the Cowboys defense. How does everyone outside of New Jersey think this is going to go? Cowboys 35-10.
I got Jets 14-10. Because I think this is going to be a horrible game for both quarterbacks. I do think that Jets defense is for real enough to make Dak look very bad because they can go and they can get after the quarterback. New York couldn't come close to what the Jets can do with their defense. New York doesn't have Sauce Gardner and DJ Reader and all these other defensive weapons on the back end. So I think that it's going to be an ugly game for both guys, but I think the Jets are going to get it done because I see themselves winning with a couple turnovers, and one of those turnovers become a sack fumble to a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Jets 14, Cowboys 10. I'm taking less on Dak's passing yards, less on Dak's completions potentially, up on his passing attempts, and I'm taking the sacks, and I'm taking the tackle for loss for Quinnen Williams. There we go.
All right. And so real quick, next up, Commanders Broncos.
We can make it quick because there ain't much to say about these teams. I got the Broncos getting this first time win. I got Sean Payton. No, they won this past week against the Raiders. Never mind. I got the Broncos. No, they lost. I'm sure
they lost. Yeah, they lost.
I got the
Commanders won though.
I got the Broncos getting their first win because let's be honest, the Commanders. This ain't no new name. Who this? This is new name. Y'all steal this, okay? Y'all going to lose this game.
I'm going to actually take the Commanders. I think their offense looks pretty decent so far under new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. I really like Sam Howell. I think that it is horrible on Coach Ron Rivera that he didn't even know the effectiveness of his own quarterback. And with that statement alone, if the Commanders don't make the playoffs this season, he's as good as gone. He may even be gone even if they do make the playoffs. I'm really digging Sam Howell, but this will be a close one. I've got Commanders 22-13.
Broncos 2017.
All right. Our next one is Sunday Night Football.
All right. We down to 3 more games left because I know we got to hurry Blake through. Dolphins at Patriots. All right. If there's a team that's been a thorn in the Patriots side, it's been the Miami Dolphins. But, Bill Belichick believes in his team. These have a chance. Tua's back playing. Looks like he's looking good. Tyreek and Jalen doing great. Who you got? Run it out.
Dolphins. The way Tua is in tune with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill is awesome. I looking at, Bleacher Report. A lot of fans have them as the top 3 duo as far as quarterback wide receiver connect. But they're going to be in Foxborough. It's not unfamiliar territory or anything like that. Tua in prime time. We saw what happened to him. I think it was the last time he was in prime time. The biggest concern is him staying healthy and protecting himself. There's no doubt that the man can play quarterback. There's no doubt that the man is solid. There's no doubt that he may even reach elite status here in the next few years. It's staying healthy. That's the biggest thing with Tua Tagovailoa, okay? But I actually think the Patriots may keep it a little bit closer than people think. I'm going to say 35-28 Dolphins.
I concur. Exact same score for the same reasons you said. I will say take Jalen Waddle receiving yards, because Bill Belichick is going to take the best weapon out the way, or try to. That's Tyreek Hill, because they are both great, but he's better. I like Jalen Waddle's receiving yards, but I will like Tyreek Hill's receptions, because I think he's still going to get some burn because he's just that fast. Dolphins 35-28. What's up? Who's next? We got the doubleheader for the Monday.
Yep.
First up, NFC South showdown. Derek Carr, Bryce Young, rookie gets himself on Monday Night Football for the world to see. What you got?
Second ever start for Bryce Young. He'll keep, and it's on prime time. They'll keep it close, but I got the Saints. Still got the same defense. You got Derek Carr back there at quarterback. I'm just liking the Saints. Now, granted, they're on the road. Yes. See, I'm picking the Saints, but I really would not be surprised if the Panthers stole one. But who knows? I mean, this could be a game that goes either way. I'm definitely liking Bryce Young, and the talent that he brings and everything. The Panthers are an improved team from last year. Wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers take it, but I'm taking Saints. I'm going to say Saints 21-14.
I'm going with the Panthers. I got them in upset because I think their defense is going to cause some problems for Derek Carr that he didn't get. The best. It's going to be like the Titans, but a little bit the Titans, but a little bit better. Bryce Young gets his first victory. 21-20 off a field goal from coming down in the game-winning drive.
All right.
And the final game we have is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the first 1-0 head of division Browns. What do you got, Jay?
Browns.
They're head of the division of both AFC North. Say that and say not laugh.
Browns. DW4 is back. He is back, and he's got a hell of a lot of talent around him. He's got the pieces that you mentioned were brought in around Mayfield, and everyone. We talk about Mayfield being solid in the right situations. Everyone knows Deshaun is far and away talented when he's on this game.
Yep.
Even on the sleepwalking day, he's far and away more talented than Mayfield. The Steelers, young team, up and coming. I do like Kenny Pickett. Also, I like the connection between him and George Pickens, but I think it's too much dog pound. Too much. The Steelers might keep it close. They might. Don't be surprised if you see a tied game at the half. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Browns 27-21.
Interesting enough, I got the Browns, and I got the Browns in decisive fashion because you struggled with Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, a bunch of guys. And now you got to deal with Myles Garrett, it's just the same thing. And then you got a team that can do the exact same thing that San Francisco does, run the football and manage the game. I think Pittsburgh goes down 0-2, and I think the Browns win. I will take under on over on completions for Kenny Pickett and over on passing attempts, but under on the yards. But with that being said, thank you guys all. Jay, I know you got to go to your show. You can find Jay on Confidential and so many other shows. He really is what his name says, Denzel Snipes. Thank you, Jay, for coming in.
Yes.
Thank you all for tuning in. Come check us out again next week. I will be on my Facebook posting the updated standings of all of us. And so, Jay, I will tell you, for next week, any days that you're not on, send me your picks. You part of the crew. We'll put it on there. Let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot. And actually, next week when James gets back, we'll probably have to do one where it's all three of us.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, man, you enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great show. Thanks again, and I'll see y'all next week.